Hello student, in this lecture we are going to start a new module which is the kinematics of flow. As we know that the fluid mechanics is the branch of which deals with the study of the fluids at the rest as well as in motion. The study of the fluids at the rest is nothing but the fluid static. Okay, and fluid kinematics and dynamatics means what? The study of the fluid at motion. Okay, so what is the difference between these kinematics and dynamatics? Kinematics means what? The branch of the science which deals with the study of the fluid at motion without considering the forces causing the motion. Okay, and dynamatics means what? The study of the fluid at motion with considering the forces causing the motion. This is the difference between these three different branches of the fluid mechanics. Okay, so let us discuss about the kinematics of flow. Kinematics is defined as the branch of the science which deals with the motion of the particles without considering the forces causing the motion. Here, the velocity at any point on a fluid at any time is studied. Okay, means the velocity is studied for every point in the flow field. Okay, so this kinematics of the flow is generally a continuous function in space and time. Okay, so the two methods are used for describing the fluid motion. First one is the Lagrangian method and second is an Eulerian method. Okay, these two methods are used to describe the motion of the fluids. Okay, so let us see what is meant by the Lagrangian method. In this Lagrangian method, a single fluid particle is considered. Okay, and there and its velocity, acceleration, density all are described. Okay, in the Lagrangian method, a single fluid particles in a flow of the fluid is considered and then its velocity, acceleration, density are described or it is calculated. Okay, and whereas in the Eulerian method, velocity, acceleration, pressure, density means all these characteristics are calculated for a point in a flow fluid. Okay, for a single point in a flow fluid. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? In the Lagrangian method, a single fluid particle is considered, while in the Eulerian method, the any point in a flow fluid is considered. Okay, and the velocity, acceleration, pressure at that point is calculated or it is described. Okay, so this is the difference between these two methods. The Eulerian method is commonly used in this fluid mechanics, means the velocity, acceleration, pressure, density at a single point is calculated mostly. Means this type of the method is used in the fluid mechanics, mostly used in the fluid mechanics. Okay, so uh, our next point is the types of the fluid flow. There are different types of the fluid flow. First is a steady and unsteady flow. Second is uniform and non-uniform flow. Third is laminar, turbulent flow, compressible and incompressible flow, rotational and irrotational flow, and last one is a 1, 2 or 3 dimensional flow. Okay. Now we will see each type of the flow in detail. First one is a steady and unsteady flow. Steady flow means what? It is the type of the flow in which the fluid characteristics such as velocity, pressure, density, cross-sectional area at a point do not change with the time. Okay, means if we consider any point, then for that point velocity, pressure, density does not changes with respect to time. Okay, Then such a type of the flow is called as a steady flow. Means here the velocity pressure at every point is constant. Okay, any constant term, if we take the differentiation of this constant term, it must be equal to 0. So here in the figure you can see the steady flow is nothing but the flow in which the fluid characteristics like velocity, pressure, density at any point do not change with respect to time. Okay, means the velocity at every point is constant. Okay, so if we consider the velocity and then if you differentiate this, then it will be dou v upon dou t, okay, which is equal to 0. Velocity is constant, so this must be equal to 0. The example of the steady flow is a constant discharge through a pipe is the example of the steady flow. Now opposite to the steady flow, the second flow is an unsteady flow. Means if unsteady flow is the flow in which the velocity, pressure and density at a point changes with respect to time. Okay, and means here the velocity dou v upon dou t is not equal to 0. Okay, velocity changes, fluid characteristics, velocity, then density, okay, pressure, all are changes with respect to time, they are not constant. Okay, so here such a type of the flow is called as an unsteady flow. The example of this unsteady flow is a variation discharge through a pipe. Variable discharge through a pipe is an example of an unsteady flow. So second type of the flow is uniform and non-uniform flow. Uniform flow is the type of the flow in which the velocity at every point does not change with respect to space. Okay, so in the steady and unsteady flow, uh, the characteristics, means the fluid characteristics are changes or not changes with respect to time. Okay, steady and unsteady flow. Here we are considering the space. Okay, means if the velocity it changes with respect to time, then it is called as a non-uniform. And if the in the flow the velocity at a given time does not change with respect to the space, okay, then such a type of the flow is called as a uniform flow. Okay, uh, if we take the differentiation, if we take the fluid characteristics, means velocity is an fluid characteristics, then the velocity it changes with respect to time, then such a type of the flow is called as a non-uniform. Okay, and if the velocity of the at any point does not changes with respect to space, then such a type of the flow is called as a uniform flow. Okay, means velocity here is constant, the distance is considered as an x. Okay, so here dou v with upon dou x, means the distance is equal to 0, velocity is constant with respect to space. Okay, then in the for non-uniform flow, dou v upon dou x is not equal to 0, velocity is variable. Okay, with respect to space, means if we here velocity is different, again if we take at the some length from this point, the velocity again changes. Okay, then such a type of the flow is called as a non-uniform flow. The third type of the flow is an laminar and turbulent flow. Laminar flow is the type of the flow in which fluid particles moves along a well defined path. Okay, which is also called as a streamline. Okay, means the fluid particles are moving in a well-defined path or a streamline, and all the streamlines are straight and parallel. Then such a type of the flow is called as the laminar flow. Okay, means flow in which all the fluid particles are flowing in a well-defined path or in a streamline. Okay, and all the streamlines are straight and parallel. Then such type of the flow is called as the laminar flow. Here in the figure you can see that the flow is flowing from left to right. Okay, and the fluid, here is the streamlines. These streamlines are straight. Okay, and all the streamlines are parallel to each other. Then such a type of the flow is called as the laminar flow. Okay, and here the particles move in a laminars. All the particles are move in a laminars or layer, grading smoothly over the adjacent layer. Okay, so such a type of flow is also called as a streamline flow or the viscous flow. Laminar flow is also called as a viscous flow or the streamline flow. Okay, all the layers are this means here the fluid particles are flowing in a single layer or the lamina. Okay, and all these laminas are leading one above the other or over the adjacent layer. Okay, then such a type of the flow is called as a streamline flow or the viscous flow. Second type of the flow is a turbulent flow, opposite to this laminar flow. So here all the fluid particles are moving in a zigzag way. Okay, in the laminar flow all the fluid particles are traveling in a straight path, but here in the turbulent flow all the fluid particles are traveling in a zigzag way. Okay, how, why they are moving in a zigzag way? As the velocity increases, the movement of the fluid particles also changes, and it is the movement of the fluid particles is in a zigzag way. So here the eddies are formed. Okay, and these eddies are responsible for the high energy loss. Okay, then such a type of the flow is called as a turbulent flow. Okay, due to the, if the velocity of the flow increases, then the eddies are formed and which are responsible for the high energy loss. Okay, and all the fluid particles are traveling in a zigzag way. Okay, so such a type of the flow is called as the turbulent flow. Okay, so these are the two different types of the flow. Then for a pi flow, the type of the flow is determined by the non-dimensional number, which is called as the Reynolds number. Okay, so the Reynolds number is used to differentiate between the laminar and turbulent flow. So in the figure you can see this is an laminars. Okay, in the first figure you can see that the fluid particles are traveling in a straight path. Now as the velocity increases, the eddies are starting, are creating in the path. Okay, then as the velocity increases, again here the eddies are in a large quantity. Okay, and as the velocity increases, the flow becomes turbulent. Okay, the eddies are formed and high energy loss is there due to these eddies. Okay, and due to this the fluid particles will traveling in a zigzag way, and such a type of the flow is called as the turbulent flow. So here in the figure you can see the transition of the flow from laminar to the turbulent. They have given in the figure how the flow changes from laminar to the turbulent flow. Then the Reynolds number is used to differentiate between these two flow. means laminar flow and turbulent flow. This Reynolds number is a non-dimensional number which is equal to means Re is equal to Vd upon nu. V means what? The velocity. Then D means the inside diameter. Okay, and nu means the kinematic viscosity. Okay, so this as we know that the velocity is equal to meter per second. Okay, D is the diameter which is in meter. Okay, and kinematic viscosity is again meter square per second. If we so both denominator and numerator both are equal, so it is a dimensionless quantity. Reynolds number becomes a non-dimensional quantity. Okay, if this Reynolds number is lies in between is less than 200, if the Reynolds number is less than 200, then the flow is called as a laminar flow. Okay, means when the Reynolds number is less than 200 and 2000, that time the flow means fluid particles are traveling in a straight path. Okay, then such type of the flow is called as laminar. When the Reynolds number is greater than 4000, then such type of the flow is called as a turbulent flow. Okay. Is when less than 2000, then it is laminar. Greater than 4000, then it is turbulent flow. Okay, and when the Reynolds number is lies in between 2000 to 4000, then such a type of the flow is called as the unstable or also called as a transitional flow. Okay, when the Reynolds number is lies in between 2000 to 4000, that time the Reynolds number may not be a laminar or may not be a turbulent. Such type of the flow is called as an unstable flow or also called as a transitional flow. Okay, so normally Reynolds number is greater than 4000 for the flow in most piping system. This Reynolds number is used to differentiate between the laminar and turbulent flow. Now our next type of the flow is compressible and incompressible flow. Compressible flow is the type of the flow in which the density of the fluid changes from point to point. Okay, means the here the in the compressible flow the density is not constant. Okay, then such type of the flow is called as compressible flow. Okay, so in the compressible flow the density of the fluid is not constant, while in the compressible while in the incompressible flow density is constant. Okay, then such type of the flow is called as an incompressible flow. For any fluid flow, when the density is constant, then such type of the flow is called as incompressible, and density is not constant, then such type of the flow is called as an compressible. Okay, our next point is rotational and irrotational flow. Rotational flow is the type of the flow in which fluid particles while flowing along a streamline also rotate about their own axis. Means जब भी fluid flow होता है तब भंवरा क्रिएट करता है अपने ऊपर. Okay, means they are flowing with respect to they are rotating about their own axis also. Okay, while flowing in a streamlines they are rotating about their own axis also, then such type of the flow is called as an rotational flow. Many times we have seen the um, seen the seen in the floods that the bhawra is created in this flood. Okay, then such a type of the flow means that time what happened, the fluid particles are traveling along their own axis. Okay, then such type of the flow is called as rotational flow. Okay, and opposite to that, the irrotational flow is, okay, the flow in which the fluid particles while flowing along the streamline do not rotate about their axis. Then such type of the flow is called as an irrotational flow. Okay, this is the difference between the rotational and irrotational flow. Now our last type of the flow is one dimensional, two dimensional and three dimensional flow. So what is mean by the one dimensional flow? When the here in the one dimensional flow, it is the type of the flow in which the flow parameters means velocity is the function of time. Okay, and one space coordinator only, then such type of the flow is called as a one dimensional flow. Okay, uh, means here the velocity only in the x direction is considered. Okay, so u indicating the velocity is in x direction, v indicating the velocity in y direction, and w indicating the velocity in the z direction. Okay, so in the one dimensional flow, velocity only velocity is the function of the time with only one space coordinator x. Okay, so in only in the x direction the velocity is considered. Okay, then second type of the flow is called as one dimensional flow. Second is two dimensional flow, where the velocity is the function of the time with two space coordinators x and y. Here the velocity in two directions are considered, means in the x direction and also in the y direction. U is the function of, means u is the indicating the velocity in the x direction and v indicating the velocity in y direction, and here w is 0. Okay, so u is the function of f1 xy, v is equal to f2 x and y. Okay, and w is equal to 0. And in three dimensional flow, the velocity is the function of time with three space coordinators. Okay, x, y and z, means the velocity in all the three directions are considered. Okay, so here all u, v and w, means u is equal to function of x, y, z, v is equal to function of x, y, z, and w is also the function of x, y, z. Okay, such a type of the flow is called as three dimensional. Okay, hope you have understand all the types of the flow. Now our next point is the rate of the flow or the discharge. Rate of flow or discharge. What does it mean? Rate of the flow or discharge is the quantity of the fluid flowing per second through a section of the pipe or the channel. Means how much quantity is flowing through a section of the pipe per second is nothing but the rate of the flow. Okay, so if we consider the incompressible fluid, means liquid, if we consider, then for liquid the rate of the flow or discharge is expressed as volume of the fluid flowing across the section per second. Okay, so if we consider the liquid, then we are then the rate of the flow is expressed as volume of the fluid across the section per second, means volume per second. We are considering the discharge is equal to volume per second. And in the case of the incompressible fluid, the rate of the flow is usually expressed as weight of the fluid flowing across the section. Okay, so for the liquids the unit is meter cube per second. or liter per second, and for the gaseous the unit is kgf per second and newtons per second. Q, the rate of the flow is indicated by Q. Okay, means discharge is equal to Q. A means the area of the cross sectional area of the pipe, and V indicating the average velocity of the flow across the section. Okay, so then the Q is equal to AV. Discharge is equal to area into the velocity. Okay. The next point is continuity equation. Okay, the equation which is based on principle of conservation of the mass is called as continuity equation, and the law of conservation of the mass states that matter or mass neither be created nor be destroyed. It is transferred from one form to the another form, and the equation which is based on this principle of conservation of the mass is called as continuity equation. So thus the for a fluid flowing through a pipe at all the cross section, the quantity of the fluid per second is constant. Okay, so for this consider two cross sections of the pipe. Okay, so here is the pipe, and one indicating the and two indicating the two cross sections of this pipe. The water is flowing from left to right in the direction. Okay, so here uh, velocity, then density and area at two the cross sections are considered. Means the velocity at section 1 is indicated by v1. Okay, so v1, rho1 and a1 are the velocity, density and cross section at the section 1, whereas v2, rho2 and a2 are the corresponding values of velocity, density and area of cross section at the section 2 2. Okay, okay, then if we consider the rate of flow at the section 1 1, then it will be rho 1 a1 into v1, rho av. Okay, this is a rate of flow at the section 1 1, and the rate of flow at section 2 is rho 2 a2 and v2. Okay, rho a into v, rho av at the section 2. Then according to the law of conservation of the mass, the rate of flow at section 1 must be equal to the rate of section at 2, rate of the flow at 2. So the so rho 1 a1 v1 must be equal to rho 2 a2 v2. This is an continuity equation for the compressible as well as an incompressible fluid. Okay, this equation is applicable to the compressible as well as an incompressible fluid. This is the equation called as an continuity equation. But if the fluid is incompressible, that time density is constant. Okay, density is constant. That means uh, rho 1 is equal to rho 2. Okay, so here the equation becomes a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2. So for the incompressible fluid, the continuity equation is a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2. Okay, this is the continuity equation. Now we will see the examples on it. The example is the diameter of the pipe at section 1 1 and 2 are 10 centimeter and 15 centimeter. Okay, and the diameters of the pipe at section 1 1 and 2 are 10 centimeter and 15 centimeter respectively. Find the discharge through a pipe if the velocity of the water flowing through a pipe at section 1 is 5 meter per second. Determine the velocity at section 2. So in the example they have given, okay, that the diameter of the pipe at section 1 is 10 and at section 2 is 15. Okay, and we have to find out the discharge to the pipe, and also we have to calculate the velocity at section 2. Velocity at section 1 they have given already in the example, which is the 5 meter per second. So let us calculate. So what is they have given? Diameters at section 1 and 2. So okay, diameter d1 is 10 centimeter, d2 is 15 centimeter. Convert it into the meter. So 10 centimeter is equal to 0.1 meter. From the diameter we can calculate the area. Okay, so here a1 is equal to pi by 4 d1 square. So pi by 4 into 0.1 square, okay, which is equal to 0.007854 meter square. This is the area at point 6 at the section 1. Okay, velocity at section 1 they have given as 5 meter per second. Then at the section 2 diameter is 15 second. Okay, now calculate the area. Pi by 4 d square means pi by 4 into 0.15 square. We can now we get the area at section 2 also. Okay, so then they have and we have to calculate the discharge to the pipe. Okay, so rate of flow or the discharge is equal to what? Q is equal to A into V. Okay, so discharge Q is equal to A1 V1. Okay, so it is equal to A1 is 0.007854 into V1 is 5. Okay, so we get the discharge to the pipe as 0.03927. Okay, now we have to calculate the velocity at point 2. Okay, so up to here we get the discharge. Okay, and as we know that the continuity equation is a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2, means discharge at point 1 must be equal to discharge at point 2. So q is equal to av. Okay, rate of flow at section 1 is equal to rate of flow at section 2. a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2. So from that we get the equation for the v2 as v2 is equal to a1 v1 upon a2. Okay, so now put the values of all these. a1 is equal to 0.007854, a2 is 0.0176 into v1 is 5. Okay, so we will get the value for v2 as 2.22 meter per second. Okay, so we get the solution of the problem. Now we will see one more problem. A 30 centimeter diameter pipe conveying water branches into the two pipes of diameter 20 centimeter and 50 centimeter. If the average velocity is 30 centimeter diameter, pipe is 2.5 meter second. Find the discharge in the pipe. Also determine the velocity in 15 centimeter pipe if the average velocity is 20 centimeter diameter pipe is 2 meter per second. Okay, so what they have given in the example, a simple pipe is there. It is branch into the two pipes, branches into the two pipes. Okay, so and the diameter of the branched pipe are one is 20 centimeter and second is 15 centimeter. Okay, and diameter of the main pipe as 30 centimeter. Okay, and they have given the velocity of the main pipe, which is the 2.5 meter per second. Okay, and they have given the velocity of the pipe of diameter 20 centimeter is 2 meter per second. We have to calculate the velocity at point at the point 3. So here this is the first pipe, this is second pipe, and this is the third pipe. Okay, main pipe is divided into two branches. So main pipe is first as in 1, second pipe is 2, and third is 3. Okay, this is the three sections of the pipe, and we have to calculate the V3, the velocity at point at the flowing through a pipe 3. And also we have to calculate the discharge in this pipe. Okay, so first they are given in the example diameters. We know all the diameters of three pipes. So d1 is 30 centimeter. From the diameter we can calculate the area. Okay, so d1 is 30 centimeter. So a1 is equal to y by 4 d1 square. So a1 is calculated. v1 velocity at point and of the pipe 1 they have given as 2.5 meter per second. Okay, then d2 as they have given 20 centimeter. From d2 we can calculate the area of pipe 2, and d3 means diameter of pipe 3 they have given as 15 centimeter. From that we can calculate the area of pipe d3, third pipe. Okay, so up to here we are calculating the area of every pipe. Okay, now we have to find out the discharge. Okay, discharge in the pipe 1, and velocity of the pipe of diameter 15 centimeters means we have to calculate the V3. Okay, so here consider that Q1, Q2 and Q3 are the discharges in pipe 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so as we know that main pipe is branches into the two pipes. Okay, so the discharge at point 1 is equal to, means here in the figure you can see that the main pipe is branches into these two pipes. Okay, so here the discharge through the point A1 through this main pipe is equal to the discharge of the summation of these two pipes, discharge of the summation of these two pipes. Okay, so here Q1 is equal to Q2 plus Q3. Q1 is equal to Q2 plus Q3. Okay, so discharge Q1 is equal to what? Discharge is equal to Q1 A1. Q1 is equal to A1 V1. We know all the two values of this. A1 is equal to 0.07068. V1 is 2.5. From that we are calculating the discharge. Okay, so up to here we are calculating the discharge of the pipe 1. Okay, from this and also we can calculate the, now we have to calculate the V3. Okay, for this first we have to find out the discharge of point of the pipe 2. Okay, so discharge at point 2 is equal to A2 V2. Okay, so A2 is 0.0314, V2 is 2. Okay, from that we get the value of discharge of the pipe 2 is 0.0628 meter cube per second. Okay, so we know that the discharge at the main point is equal to the discharge of summation of discharge of the branched pipe. Okay, so Q1 is equal to Q2 plus Q3, and we know that the value of Q1 is 0.1763, Q2 is 0.06328 plus Q3. Okay, so we get the value of Q3 as we get the value of Q3. Okay, but which is equal to 0.1139 meter cube per second. Okay, but as we know that discharge is equal to velocity into the area. Okay, so area we already know, velocity we have to calculate, and here the area we have calculated already. Okay, so the V3 is equal to what? Area upon discharge upon the area. V is equal to Q upon A. So V3 is equal to A3 Q3 upon A3, which is equal to 6.44 meter per second. Okay, so up to here we have calculated the discharge also and the velocity at the pipe 3 also. So solution, we get the solution of the problem over here. So our next point is the continuity equation for the three-dimensional flow. A continuity equation for the three-dimensional flow. For this, consider a fluid particle flowing in a fluid plane. Okay, this is a fluid particle which is flowing in a fluid. Flowing in the flow. Okay, this is a fluid particle, and the length dx, here the dx, dy and dz are the fluid element. Okay, dx, dy and dz are the fluid elements, length of the fluid elements in the x, y and z. Dx indicating the length of the fluid element in x direction, dy showing the length of the fluid element in y direction, and dz indicating the length of this fluid element in the z direction. Okay, now let u is an velocity component in x direction, v is the velocity component in the y direction, and w indicating the velocity component in the z direction. Okay, so here the box fluid, this is a fluid particle, dx, dy and dz showing the length of the fluid elements in x, y, z direction, and u, v and w indicating the velocity component in all the three directions. Okay, now we have to calculate the mass of the fluid entering through the phase A, B, C, D. This is the phase A, B, C, D. Okay, so mass of the fluid which is entering through this plane, okay, through this phase, okay, and then leaving through the phase E, F, G, H. Okay, so mass is means water is flowing, entering from here and leaving from here. Okay, so mass is entering from the plane ABCD and leaving from EFGH. Okay, so first we will calculate the mass of the fluid which is entering through the phase ABCD. Okay, so mass means what? Density into the velocity into the area. Okay, mass is equal to density into velocity into the area. Okay, so density into the velocity in x direction is indicated by u. Okay, and the area of the ABCD. Okay, so area of the ABCD will be here dy into dz. So dy into dz indicating the area of the plane ABCD. Okay, so mass of the fluid entering in the phase ABCD is equal to rho into u into dy into dz. Okay, now the mass of the fluid which is leaving from here EFGH, it will be equal to what? Mass of the fluid entering through the ABCD. Okay, then it is passing from here to here, and then it is leaving this area. Okay, so if we consider 2 unit of mass, okay, and if it is leaving at the time of the leaving, it will become 1 unit, then there is a loss in this in the direction. Okay, so or maybe sometimes gain in the acceleration or maybe a loss. So first we have to calculate the mass change in means the changes occurs in this uh, in between these two planes. Okay, so this must be uh, so mass of the fluid which is leaving the phase eg efg is equal to what? First, mass of the fluid entering and plus differentiation of the rho u dy by dz. Okay, means what? First is rho u dy by dz means the mass of the fluid entering in the plane ABCD, which is rho into u into dy plus dz plus d by dx of mass of the fluid leaving. Okay, means rho into u into dy by dz into dx. Okay, so what is the gain of the mass in the acceleration? Is equal to what? Mass of the fluid, mass through the ABCD, mass minus mass through the EGF. Okay, so which is equal to rho u minus rho u dy dz minus rho u dy dz minus rho by dou by dou x into rho u dy by dz into dx. Okay, then here the remaining terms will be d by dx of minus d by dx of rho u dy dz bracket complete dx, which is equal to minus d by dx rho u into dx dy dz. Okay, this is the gain of the mass in x direction. Similarly, for the gain of the mass in y direction will be minus dou u by dou y. Instead of only here only the velocity component will be changed. Okay, the velocity component is only changes over here. So if for the direction of y direction, the velocity component is v. Okay, so instead of u we have to write the v only. This is only the change. So net gain of mass in y direction is minus dou by dou y of rho v dx dy dz. Okay, and for the similarly for the z direction, instead of u we have to write the w, means the velocity component in the z direction is indicated by w. Okay, so the net gain in the z direction is equal to minus dou by dou z of pw dx dy dz. Okay, so up to here we have calculated the net gain in all the three directions: x direction, y direction and z direction. Okay, so net gain of mass is equal to on the summation of all the three directions, the net gain of masses in all the three directions. Okay, so it will be minus in bracket dou by dou x into rho u plus dou by dou y of rho v plus dou by dou z of rho w into dx dy dz. Okay, so minus sign all the three directions are common and dx dy dz is common, so they are taken outside and the remaining term is taken in the bracket. Okay, as we know that here the mass is neither ubiquitous nor destroyed in a fluid element. Okay, so net increase of mass per unit time in a fluid element must be equal to the rate of change of mass in the element. Okay, but mass of the fluid in the element is means rho dx dy dz and its rate of increase with time is dou by dou t rho dx dy dz or dou p means dou rho dou by dou by dou t into rho dx dy dz. Okay, So if we equate both these terms, then we will get minus rho by dou x of rho u plus rho by dx by rho v plus rho by dx of rho w. In bracket complete, dx dy dz is equal to dou rho upon dou t, okay, into dx dy dz. Then dx dy dz on the both side are common, so they are cancelled out. Okay, this term is taken on the right side. Okay, then we get the continuity equation as dou rho upon dou t plus dou by dou x are dou u plus dou by dou y by rho v plus dou by dou z of rho w is equal to 0. Okay, this is the equation of continuity in the Cartesian coordinates. Okay, this equation is applicable for steady and unsteady flow, uniform and non-uniform flow, and compressible and incompressible flow. Okay, so this is then continuity equation. For the steady flow, as we know that for the steady flow, the density with respect to time is constant. Okay, so dou rho by dou t is equal to 0. Then the equation becomes dou by dou x into rho u plus dou by dou y by rho v plus dou by dou z of rho w is equal to 0. This is the equation, continuity equation for the steady flow. Okay, then if the flow is incompressible, then the density is constant. As okay, so here the equation becomes dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou z plus dou w by dou z is equal to 0. Okay, this is an equation for the incompressible flow. Density is constant, so it is neglected from all the terms. Okay, so remaining terms will be dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y plus dou w by dou z is equal to 0. Okay, this is then continuity equation for the 3-dimensional. And for the 2-dimensional flow, the equation becomes for the 2-dimensional flow, we are considering only the x and y directions. Okay, so z direction it will be 0. Okay, the component of velocity in the z direction is 0. So the continuity equation becomes dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y is equal to 0. Okay, this is an continuity equation for the 2-dimension. Okay, so up to here we have seen the what is meant by the kinematics of flow. Then we have seen the different types of the flow. Okay, and then we have seen the continuity equation for the 2-dimensional and for the 3-dimensional also. Okay, in that we have seen the continuity equation for the steady flow, compressible flow, incompressible flow. Okay, hope you have understand all these concepts well. Thank you.